Hi, welcome everyone. This is the first Tech Unplugged live from NetApp Insight in Berlin. Hi Josh, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me, Enrico. I'm excited to be the first person to kick off the event.
Yeah, that's incredible for me because we started this thing and the idea is to share experience, have a glimpse from what is happening from the backend. So first of all, can you tell us what's your role in NetApp? What do you do
Sure.
for a living?
Yeah, so I'm Josh Atwell. I'm the developer advocate for NetApp SolidFire. And for a living, I basically go around the world and teach people about how they can consume the SolidFire system via integrations and tools through code, less so through the graphical user interface and our traditional methods, more towards the next generation methods of consumption, code being the driver of all of that.
So API all the way.
Yeah, the API is the foundation for all those capabilities. So everything extends from the API to software development kits, from software development kits to tool sets and native integrations.
So you are the best person to ask what is happening on the field.
Yeah.
What do you see, what kind of trends?
Yeah, so a lot of what I see on a regular basis are organizations looking to find ways to eliminate the handoffs between the different silos or disciplines, as I prefer to refer to them, and find ways to consume infrastructure more efficiently and more effectively, so that areas where you're simply asking for provisioning, that can be put off into a provisioning process or through a tool set. Being able to ensure that the demands that are being placed onto the infrastructure and onto IT organization can be handled through code. And what we're seeing in the market is this big surge of what I kind of refer to like effortless IT, where native integrations are enabling these organizations to bring in the technology right into the working layer. So when you look at, for instance, Docker and the NetApp Docker Volume plugin, like it's native. And so once that's loaded into the system, you can actually make calls using the native Docker commands, the volume commands, and so the amount of effort required to actually implement code and things is greatly reduced. And I'm seeing not just a surge of people wanting to do development and do custom work to meet their needs, but this big draw to that simplicity, that effortlessness of being able to extend the infrastructure into the working layer.
So you talk about organization generally, okay, but can you give me an idea? So it's large organizations, like large enterprises, service providers, I think.
Yeah.
What kind of organization are you seeing adopting this kind of methodologies?
Yeah, I think it's not really the size of the organization or the type of organization. It's more in how that organization, its business and its operating model, how they generate revenue, and how they're being disrupted by technology from other companies coming in and trying to do things in a new, innovative way. We actually see a lot of competition on these devices here now, right? Where you actually have vendors who are competing to have the best experience on a mobile device. So whether you're looking at a service provider or a software as a service provider, or you're looking at an enterprise that's going through this digital transformation and trying to move to next generation application types, they're all running into very similar problems. It's just that they're focused on how they prioritize the problems and how they look at their operating model. That's what varies more than anything else.
I see. So, can I ask you something more technical?
Sure.
So, I'm seeing a lot of interest in Kubernetes. I'm pronouncing it well because I say Kubernetes.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, you're fine.
And less interest in OpenStack lately.
Yeah.
Is it because OpenStack is now more mainstream, more mature? Or it's because Kubernetes is, it's a better way to do stuff. I don't know.
So I will answer it in a semi-non-technical but also technical manner. If you look at the industry today and the technologies that people are adopting, it really comes down to the application workload that they're trying to deploy, manage, and operate. And I think we see three core types of this, and there's a lot more, but in the context of what you framed out.
Yeah.
You got your VMware environment where infrastructure resiliency is critically important to the applications that are being hosted on that platform. And it's also a platform where there's a very large skill set to support that. Then you have an OpenStack platform where people have made this move to OpenStack in large part because they either want to displace VMware or they want to supplement VMware in environments where hardware and infrastructure resiliency is less important to the application layer, right? Because the applications are now distributed in a manner that if a hardware component goes down, having high availability like you do in a VMware ecosystem isn't necessary per se. It's desired, but it's not necessary. And then when you look at something like Kubernetes, when you're looking at orchestrating and managing containers and doing that, it's just a separate application delivery type. And this is now a framework that's enabling them as they go to deliver an application and build an application in a container framework. Then they need tooling to allow them to orchestrate and automate and manage the process of the deployment of that application. Because in that regard, you're very much not worried about the statefulness of the infrastructure and the agility of the infrastructure, because if anything dies, you simply are built to spin up that application in another location all through that tooling. So I don't think it's a zero-sum game. I don't think people are necessarily ditching VMware or ditching OpenStack because Kubernetes is so hot and interesting right now. I think it's just better alignment with the way that they've been developing their applications to take advantage of containers, because there's still a great bit of growth in OpenStack and VMware of the deployment of containers, right? Deploying a virtual machine and then deploying containers on top of that. It's still very pervasive. People are doing that all over the place. But now that there's additional options, we're seeing a little more competition on how they're actually doing that, how they might implement, and you're going to continue to see maturity and growth in both OpenStack and Kubernetes that's going to enable more workloads. And I think that's really what the shift is how quickly do the application workloads get transitioned to be able to run on containers to where something like Kubernetes is critically important.
Wow, great. Thank you very much for your time, and where we can find you on the internet.
I'm all over the internet, but the best place to reach me is on Twitter, @Josh_Atwell. I'm there all the time. I blog a little bit, but most of my blogging now is on the solidfire.com blog or the pub, our developer community. It's at netapp.io.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Enrique. It was a pleasure.